All right, hi there. So we are on the back of our test for the Unit 2, and really this is mainly going to be our 2.5 learning target, but this is in the section where we've done 2.4 and 2.5, but you'll want to have your 2.5 notes out. This is on the back of the test. It's the open response. I'm going to go through and help you set up some of these, and then you'll finish them on your own. So let's go ahead and look at number 1, and we can tell right here that there is a plus sign in the middle, and what I can do is see right away that there's actually an I to the 5th power. So this is one of the more challenging ones because we have to get thinking about that I squared equals -1. Well, we have an I to the 5th, so we're going to actually need to break this up. So remember, we're going to write it like this, 2, and then we're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we make sure to write 5 because the number says 5. And then we figure out how many I squareds we can pull out. Well, I squared is I times I, so I can pull out one of them. So then this becomes 2 times -1, because remember, an I squared is -1. I have another set I can pull out. I and I is I squared, so times another -1. And then it looks like there's only one I left, so I'm going to put that on the end of here because we will keep the I with it. So I broke this down, so really it's 2 times -1 times -1. So you should actually get that it is 2I when we simplify it. That's just this little part of it. But as you recall, when we have addition, we can rewrite it and go ahead and do things without the parentheses. So that part I helped you with because the 2 to the 5th power, we've only done a few where we actually have to break it up and then figure out how many I squareds come out, which is a -1 and a -1. Okay, so from here you should be able to combine like terms and simplify. All right, let's look at number 2. So right away before I do anything, I want to change my I squareds out. So I'm going to put this here. That's going to become 8 times -1. And then I'm going to rewrite this plus 6I minus 1. That's just the first part. Now I'm going to look in here. That's a minus sign, so I'm actually going to have to distribute that. But first thing I want to do is I always change my I squareds. So this is -2 times I squared. Remember, I squared, -2 times -1. So that's really like a +2. So when you distribute, you're going to distribute it to the +2 because this becomes +2 at the end. So -7, -9I, and then a negative times a +2 minus 2. So from here, now that I have you set up, you should be able to go through and combine like terms. All right, let's look at 3. So we get the double distribute here. So this is the multiplication. So 4 times 3, and then we have 4 times -5I. I'm going to have you do the rest on your own. I'm not going to write them out this time. I want to see what you can do. But then also remember, next part, -3 times 3, and then a -3I times a -5I, so don't forget that's going to be an I squared problem where you have to sub that in. You also are going to have a negative times a negative, and then you'll combine like terms. And then number 4, you might remember we've already done one like this, exact numbers and everything on our practice test. It was also in our worksheet packet. This is the difference of squares. So if you recall, when it has the same terms but a plus and a minus, that means that middle term or the I term in the middle will disappear. But just go with the double distributive. 8 times 8, and then 8 times negative I, and then a positive I times 8, and an I times a negative I is going to give you a negative I squared. And remember, I squared equals negative 1. So hopefully go through, do that work, write the terms down, and then remember that middle term should disappear. So this is actually going to be, it's actually going to look a little bit different. When you end up combining the like terms. So this will end up being just a number, just as a hint for you there. All right, and then that is it for this part of the test. So if you need to go back and watch it, or maybe listen to these a little closer as I went through and guided you, maybe write them down too at the same time as I say them, and use your notes or any other things that you think might help you.